Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In a shocking and devastating development, one of the deadliest ambushes in recent history has unfolded in southern Gaza. Reports emerging from Rafah confirm that over 150 Israeli soldiers have been killed and 30 tanks destroyed in what's being described as a meticulously planned and executed surprise attack by Palestinian resistance fighters. This marks a turning point in the ongoing conflict, one that could shift the balance of the war in Gaza. According to military sources, the ambush began in the early hours of the morning. Israeli armored convoys were advancing through the outskirts of Rafah, an area heavily targeted in recent weeks as Israel pushed deeper into Gaza in an attempt to eliminate Hamas strongholds. But what Israeli forces did not anticipate was a trap laid deep beneath the surface, a network of tunnels, explosives, and hidden launch points waiting for the right moment. As the first line of tanks entered the area, massive explosions ripped through the column. Anti-tank missiles, improvised explosive devices, and precision-guided rockets struck the convoy from multiple directions. Within seconds, fireballs engulfed the street, and thick black smoke filled the sky. Witnesses described the scene as a battlefield of flames. Reports suggest that the attack was coordinated using intelligence and timing. Palestinian fighters had allegedly been monitoring Israeli troop movements for days, anticipating their advance. The moment the tanks crossed into a narrow corridor, resistance forces unleashed a devastating barrage. Several Israeli Merkava tanks were destroyed almost instantly, while others were immobilized by roadside explosives. In the chaos that followed, Israeli soldiers tried to regroup and call for air support, but communication systems were disrupted, possibly due to electronic jamming by Hamas or damage to signal relays. As reinforcements arrived, they too came under heavy fire. The battle lasted for more than 2 hours before Israeli helicopters managed to extract the surviving troops from the area. Israel has confirmed significant losses, calling the event a national tragedy. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who held an emergency meeting with the Defense Ministry, vowing that those responsible will face absolute retribution. The Israel Defense Forces have since launched a massive counter-offensive, bombing multiple sites across Rafah, believed to be linked to the attackers. On the ground, the devastation is immense. Satellite images and footage circulating on social media show burning vehicles, destroyed tanks, and charred debris scattered across the streets. The sound of explosions echoed long after the fighting had subsided. For the people of Rafah, this was yet another night of terror, with buildings shaking, families hiding underground, and hospitals overwhelmed with casualties. Hamas's military wing, the Al-Qassam Brigades, has claimed responsibility for the ambush, releasing a statement calling it Operation Martyr's Response. According to their spokesperson, the attack was retaliation for Israel's recent airstrikes that targeted civilian shelters and refugee camps in central Gaza. This is our message to the occupation. The statement read, "For every child killed, we will strike a soldier. For every home destroyed, we will destroy their tanks." Military analysts say this ambush could become one of the deadliest blows to Israeli ground forces in years. Losing 150 soldiers and 30 tanks in a single operation is unprecedented. It not only raises questions about the effectiveness of Israel's intelligence, but also exposes vulnerabilities in its ground strategy inside Gaza, especially in urban areas where guerrilla tactics thrive. Israel's response was immediate and fierce. Within hours, its air force launched over 100 airstrikes on Rafah, targeting suspected tunnel networks, weapons depots, and command centers. Massive explosions rocked the city, lighting up the night sky. Palestinian health authorities report dozens of casualties, including civilians, as rescue teams struggled to reach those trapped beneath rubble. The international community has reacted with alarm. Egypt, which borders Rafah, placed its border crossings on high alert. The United Nations called for restraint, warning that further escalation could lead to a humanitarian catastrophe. Meanwhile, global media outlets are calling this incident a turning point in the Gaza conflict. with both sides suffering heavy losses and no clear end in sight. Eyewitnesses from Rafah describe the aftermath as apocalyptic. Streets once crowded with families are now littered with debris and twisted metal. Entire buildings have been reduced to ruins. The sound of drones still buzzes overhead as the fear of further strikes lingers. For the families of the fallen soldiers in Israel, grief has turned to anger. Vigils and protests are breaking out across the country, with citizens demanding answers from their government. Our sons were sent into a death trap, one parent said outside the defense ministry in Tel Aviv. How did intelligence not know? How did they walk right into an ambush? Israeli military spokesmen insist that investigations are underway, but they also maintain that Hamas's tunnel warfare and use of dense civilian areas make operations exceedingly difficult. A senior IDF official told the press, "This was not a conventional battle. It was a planned massacre." Analysts warn that Israel's retaliation could extend far beyond Gaza. The attack's scale may push Israel to widen its operations, possibly drawing in other regional players. There are already fears that Hezbollah in Lebanon might launch simultaneous attacks in solidarity, creating a two-front confrontation that could destabilize the entire region. On the Palestinian side, the ambush is being hailed as a major military success, a demonstration that despite months of heavy bombardment, their resistance remains capable and organized. Crowds gathered in parts of Gaza City to celebrate the operation, waving flags and chanting slogans of defiance, even as air raid sirens blared above them. As the dust settles, the humanitarian toll grows worse. Hospitals in Rafah are running out of medical supplies. Power outages are widespread, and communication lines are unstable. Thousands of residents have fled the southern areas of the city, fearing another round of bombings. Aid organizations warn that the situation is reaching critical levels, with food and water shortages worsening by the hour. International pressure is mounting on both sides. The United Nations and several European countries are pushing for an immediate ceasefire, while the United States has reaffirmed its support for Israel's right to defend itself. But behind the scenes, diplomats acknowledge that peace feels more distant than ever. As night falls again over Gaza, Israeli drones circle above, and artillery fire can be heard in the distance. The city of Rafah, once a bustling border town, now stands as a symbol of devastation and defiance. Both sides are preparing for what could be another long night of fire and fury. This ambush will be remembered as a defining moment in the ongoing war, not just for its scale, but for what it represents, the unending cycle of attack and retaliation that continues to consume lives on both sides. As the world watches, one thing is clear: the Middle East is once again on the edge of a storm, and peace remains a distant dream. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.